Shalom. All praise, honor, and glory going to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Hashem, Kakodash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Salutation to all you Acumen out there pushing this truth with all honesty and sincerity. Also, Shalom to you, Aquaf, that's out there. You very few sisters out there listening and learning. This your brother Nayap, and I'm back with a news update. It's for fair use, fair use, fair use. And this is only for educational purposes only as well. So fair use, fair use, fair use is for educational purposes only.
And conflicts of today. Perhaps nowhere do the resonance and antiquity and the mandates of faith collide with politics than in Iran. That is particularly true within its Jewish community, which has existed there for nearly 3 millennia. For many of the Jews of Iran, it is fair to say life is complicated. Special correspondent Reza Saya reports.
Adonai. At Abri Shami Synagogue, worshippers recite early morning prayers. They remove the Torah from its ark to read passages from Judaism's most sacred book. Jews practice this ritual the world over, every day. But this ceremony is taking place in the Islamic Republic of Iran, a country that's a sworn enemy of the State of Israel, but home to what some estimates say is the second largest Jewish population in the Middle East outside of Israel. Life for you as a Jew is good in Iran.
Yes.
You're happy here.
If I was not happy, I can immigrate.
Siamak Morsadet is a Jewish resident of the capital, Tehran. Inside his office, Moses is on one wall, Iran's supreme leader.
Moses, Salak. I'm in the middle of a lesson. Moses is not a Edomite. Moses is not a so-called white man. Moses is not a so-called Arab. Moses is not a so-called Jewish man. All right, he's none of that. All right, he's a dark-skinned man. All right. Period. I don't see why y'all. This is whitewashing. That's not Moses. This is
capital Tehran. Inside his office, Moses.
That's not Moses. That's like a fucking Syrian. How you gonna look like that? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just complete whitewash, man. Moses was black. All right. He even got confused as an Egyptian. Okay. So how the fuck if so-called Africans, which are actually Hamites, if they're dark-skinned people, very dark-skinned people, if Moses was mistaken as an Egyptian, wouldn't that mean that he has super dark skin? Why is there a picture of a fucking Persian on the fucking wall? It makes no sense. This has been debunked all the time, man. All you gotta do is just go to the Bible, you know. But I'm trying to stay up out of this for real. I'm just trying to get y'all the news. But it's gonna be this one scene when this woman come up, and I'm gonna have to go into the scriptures.
Is on one wall, Iran's supreme leader on the other. But you don't want to leave.
Everyone who wants to live can live.
But you don't want to leave.
I don't want. I'm living here and I want to live here.
20 years ago, Morsadev's wife wanted the couple to move to America. She left. He stayed, choosing Iran's more conservative culture. So you gave up your wife to stay in Iran?
Yes, it's very important for me. I think that I cannot live without Iranian culture. I cannot tolerate my wife to dress in bikini in the seaside because I grew up in Iranian culture.
Today, Morsadet is an elected member of Iran's parliament. Proof, he says, that Jews here are a respected minority with religious rights. You say everything's fine for the Jewish community here.
No one can say that everything is fine.
Well, you say most things are fine.
Are improving.
Improving. Many people outside of Iran are going to remark that you're not being completely truthful. You're not being completely open. How can you convince people?
I cannot convince a man who don't want to understand our condition, of course.
Conditions for Jews in Iran have seen many ups and downs. Jews began settling in Iran in the 6th century BC, when Iran was the Persian Empire, and its king, Cyrus, freed Jews from Babylonian captivity.
We've been in Iran for 2,700 years.
Humayun Someyah is the president of the Tehran Jewish Committee, a 700-year-old organization that works on behalf of Iran's Jews. His office walls are lined with past generations of Iran's Jewish leaders.
Iranians have given us a lot of good. We are Iranians ourselves. Sure, there are times when things happen, but our community always stands strong and demands our rights.
Iran's Jews faced perhaps their toughest challenge soon after the 1979 Islamic Revolution. Islamist revolutionaries linked many Jews to the regime of the ousted Shah of Iran. They declared Israel an enemy of Islam. Several Jews were arrested. Habib El-Ghanian, a well-known Jewish businessman, was executed.
They said Mr. El-Ghanian was a Zionist, but I still don't believe that was the case. He had a big factory. 99% of his employees were Muslims. He invested 100% of his money back into Iran, but he was still executed.
Fearing for their safety, many Jews left the country. Someyah insists today Iran's Jews are safe and respected again.
In the beginning of the revolution, there was a lot of pressure on minorities, especially for Jews. There was immigration because people felt insecure. With time, things have improved. Fortunately, right now in Iran, we have complete freedom to carry out our religious duties.
Today, an estimated 15,000 Jews still live here. Most are in the capital, Tehran. There are 5 Jewish private schools here, several kosher restaurants, and Tehran's oldest charity hospital was founded and is still run by Jews. Tehran is a city with 13 synagogues. Some were confiscated by the government after the revolution. Jewish leaders say when they sued to get them back, Iran's revolutionary courts ruled in their favor. Today, all 13 are open, with little or no security measures in place. Here's one of the most remarkable things about this synagogue. In a region where almost all synagogues are protected with tight security, metal detectors, even armed guards, the doors to this synagogue are open. Worshippers, or anyone else for that matter, can walk right in. Manucher Behravan used to live in New York City. One thing he values in Iran, he says, is the absence of anti-Semitism. Have you ever experienced any violent acts of anti-Semitism here in Iran?
No, I feel safe. I feel safer here than probably United States because in the United States a lot of people have access to guns.
3 years ago, the government of Iranian President Hassan Rouhani recognized Saturday as the Jewish Sabbath and a religious holiday. Parents have permission to stay home from work, and children stay home from school. For Yafa Mahgerefte, it was a sign.
It showed that they acknowledge us and our faith, because this is part of our religion. Thank God they accepted it.
Iran's Jews say they're also free to travel to Israel, a trip the government bans for all other citizens. Not everything is perfect for Iran's Jews. They're still kept away from senior government and military positions. Some are believed to be closely monitored by Iran's intelligence agencies. And many people question if they're openly expressing their true feelings. And they find themselves in a seemingly difficult position. They live in a country whose leaders are sworn enemies of Israel, the homeland of their faith. Iran doesn't recognize Israel as a legitimate state. Hardliners still scream death to Israel at every Friday prayers. And in international sporting events, Iran bans its athletes from competing with Israelis, who often end up winning by forfeit. But Jews here say Iranian policy is strictly against the Israeli government and its leader Benjamin Netanyahu, not Jews or Israeli people. It's a policy many Jews here publicly support.
My decision about Israel is based on the Iranian national interest. Everyone who is enemy of my country is enemy of me.
And you suggest that Israel is an enemy of Iran.
If Israel behave in such manner that is behaving till today, of course, is enemy of peace in all parts of the world.
Jewish committee leader Homayun Sameyah denounces Israeli policies too.
Unfortunately, Mr. Netanyahu doesn't have the desire to improve relations with the world or Iran.
But he also rejects fellow Iranians who chant death to Israel.
It's better to talk about life and peace in the world instead of wishing someone's death. I hope God guides us in the right path.
Many Jews here hope Tehran and Tel Aviv will one day resolve their differences. But even if they do, home, they say, will always be Iran.
The other day when they... Whoa! What? That's no! Oh my God.
It appears there has been...
36 just blew up.
You don't have context for it and you don't know where in the Bible it is, but that's like your theology? I'm confused. What does that even mean?
Tucker.
I'm a Christian. I want to know what you're talking about.
Okay. Where does my support for Israel come from? Number one, because biblically we're commanded to support Israel. But number two...
Hold on. Hold on. You're a senator, and now you're throwing out theology, and I am a Christian, and I am allowed to weigh in on this. We are commanded as Christians to support the government of Israel?
We are commanded to support Israel. And
what does that mean, Israel?
We're told those who bless Israel will be blessed.
But what? Hold on. Define Israel. This is important. Are you kidding? This is a majority Christian country.
Define Israel? Do you not know what Israel is? That would be the country you've asked like 49 questions about.
So that's what Genesis, that's what God is talking about.
Israel is a people before it's a place. Always remember that.
Israel, yes.
So is that the current borders, the current leadership? He's talking about the political entity called Israel?
He's talking about the nation of Israel. Yeah, nations exist, and he's discussing a nation. A nation was the people of Israel.
Is the nation
the
God's referring to in Genesis, is that the same as the country run by Benjamin Netanyahu right now?
Yes.
It is.
And I'm really happy he said that, because when you hear it, you realize how ridiculous it sounds. Even if you're not following the theology, if you don't identify as a Christian, you realize that you have a senator that is sitting across saying that his number one reason, he didn't say one of the reasons, he said my number one reason that I support Israel is because the Bible commands me to do so. And just so you know, the Bible does not command, and this is what Tucker Carlson is getting to in that clip, it absolutely does not command you to support the modern state of Israel. Like Genesis is pointing to the modern 1948 created state of Israel, and you must support it, despite the fact that it is very much involved in what can only be described as demonic behavior since its creation, right? And so you're going to ignore every other biblical passage. You're going to misinterpret this one. It's a dispensationalist heresy. Which was factually...
And they don't even know what the fuck they talking about. This is the one.
I can get pregnant.
I'm just going to read the scripture since I already got it up. All right, I'm going to read at 3, but the point is in 4 and 5. It says, this is Sirach or Ecclesiasticus, chapter 22 and verse 3. It says, an evil nurtured man is the dishonor of his father that begot him. All right, it says, and a foolish daughter is born to his loss. A wise daughter shall bring an inheritance to her husband. Again, a wise daughter shall bring an inheritance to her husband. But she, all right, that means having children, all right. But she that liveth dishonestly is her father's heaviness, all right. And then verse 5, it says, she that is bold dishonoreth both her father and her husband. Okay, but they both shall despise her. All right. So so yeah, man. That's about it. I wanted to get on that. Let me get this other one right quick, just because. All right. This is Romans 1:26. For this cause, God gave them up to vile affections, for even their women did change the natural use into that which is against nature. So we're going to go ahead and bring this back a little bit. Let it play.
I can get pregnant. I can get married. Do you ever would you ever want to get pregnant or get married or no? No. Speaking of that, I should take the plan B that I have. So anyway. Wait, so you did a shoot recently or some shit? Yeah. Damn, so that's a plan B right there. And then so do you prefer a dude to finish inside or Yes. Yes. I can get pregnant. I can get married.
Right plans, that means that we have a deconfliction plan with Israel. That means that if we are to send American aircraft into Iran, that we will deconflict with the Israelis, which means we are intimately involved with the Israelis in every aspect of their planning. For instance, if they have special operations forces on the ground, they will communicate the areas where they are so that we don't attack them, we don't strike them, that we protect them. If they will send in helicopters to rescue these people, right plans, that means that we have a deconfliction plan with Israel. That means that if we are to send American aircraft into Iran, that we will deconflict with the Israelis, which means we are intimately involved with the Israelis in every aspect of their planning. For instance, if they have special operations forces on the ground, they will communicate the areas where they are so that we don't attack them, we don't strike them, that we protect them. If they will send in helicopters to rescue these people, right plans, that means that we have a deconfliction plan with Israel. That means that if we are to send American aircraft into Iran, that we will deconflict with.
You better get your face paint ready because we're about to head to World War III. The Iranian leader said basically, you can go fuck yourself, Trump. We're not surrendering for shit. So if you see one of those B-2s up in the air, they're holding one of those 3-ton fucking bunker busters because Israel's saying the only way, without them going in with their fucking boots on the ground, is to shoot it from fucking the sky, and they don't have the missiles for it or the planes. Only America has it. And I know this is not we haven't heard this before with Iraq, and it does sound kind of like Iraq. I can't lie about it. But Iran is completely disabled from the air defense to everything else. All their leaders are dead. And basically all their proxies in other parts of the world are wiped out too, from Hamas to the Houthis to everybody. So I don't know, but all I can tell you is this: I'm not trying to fearmonger. It really sounds like we're about to go to war with these motherless fucks. They're gonna call it an operation, but it's an act of war to the Iranian leader. So who knows what's going to go on, because once we get in it, then that could open up the door for everybody else. But I'm going to tell you this, it would be a big mistake if anybody else got involved. All I can tell you is since 1979, we've been having major issues with Iran. They killed our people or gave bombs to kill our people in 2007, tried to get the Saudi ambassador killed over in the Washington area, basically funded proxy people to bomb our ships and shit like that. It's been a long time coming, honestly, so I think it's here.
Donald Trump calls again for Iran's unconditional surrender.
That means I've had it. Okay, I've had it. I give up. No more. Then we go blow up all the all the nuclear stuff.
So will the president launch America into a war with Iran?
I may do it. I may not do it. I mean, nobody knows what I'm going to do.
Reports tonight, Donald Trump has approved attack plans, but is waiting on Iran to back down.
Either you want them to have a nuclear weapon or you don't. And if you don't, if diplomacy fails, use force.
Iran's supreme leader issuing this warning.
The damage America will suffer if it makes a military intervention in this field will undoubtedly be irreparable.
The US already has 40,000 troops in the Middle East, bases in Turkey, Kuwait, Qatar, Bahrain, and the UAE. A military presence in 6 more countries. American destroyers are in place, an aircraft carrier is off Oman, and another is on the way.
The last thing I think the average American people want is for guys who have not just been there, done that, but also miss it. You know, for some of us, it's the only time.
Oh, that's crazy, Nick.
Yeah. For
you
some
said
of us, that's
also miss it.
Yes. For some of us, that's like the only time we felt alive. This regular civilian life, it doesn't work for everybody. The last thing you guys want is guys who miss it, who miss the thrill of it. And I teeter that line. If it wasn't a Rastafari, I'd be totally on the other edge. But I think a lot of us teeter that line between that beast being woken up, you know, and eventually that beast is going to have to eat. And I think the average person isn't ready for those type of guys to be on the street where there's no rules of engagement, no Geneva Convention, you know. I'm not going to get in trouble for just doing what I want to do in war. And in my mentality, war to me, and the way war has always been, it's cut and dry. War is just killing. That's it. No one wins in a gunfight. You only survive it, but you don't win it. For me, war is just 100% chaos, killing. Call it murder if you want, but that's what war is. And I think that TV has taken that, the fact that we can like turn on the TV and watch a guy get hit with a drone or a missile or be shot up, and we get so desensitized to it that it hurt the American, or not the American, humanity's viewpoint on the nature of war. It kind of like desensitized it until you're there. Then it's like, oh, you only got one small little piece of the pie because television to tell your vision what they wanted you to see or understand. But the reality of war is very simple. It's cut and dry. It's very animalistic. And war, to me, there are no rules. Whatever it takes to win. There's only one rule in my war, and it's rule number 1, I always win. And whatever that takes, I don't care what it takes. I'm going to win. Even when I lose, I'm winning. You just don't know it yet.
Damn.
Getting some very crucial breaking news coming in within the very escalation between Iran and Israel. What we are learning at this point is that the United States Embassy in Tel Aviv has been hit in Iran strikes. U.S. Embassy suffers minor damages. Shut for the day is what we are learning. Iranian missile lands near the U.S. Embassy in Tel Aviv. Trump warned. Remember, only a day ago, Trump had given a warning that devastating response if U.S. installations or any assets of the United States in this very region is hit in any way. They had said that they will be coming in using all their might. And now the situation really seems to be sensitive and really seems to have escalated with the United States Embassy in Tel Aviv having been hit in the Iranian strike. We are now bringing to you visuals as well of how these strikes have been continuing. Now we have Shivani Sharma joining us in the very broadcast to bring us more details. Shivani, concerning details currently coming in, concerning reports coming in from the war front, as we hear the U.S. Embassy having been hit, even if it's a minor destruction of sorts that's taken place, Trump had warned very clearly that the retaliation shall take place with all their might if any U.S. asset is at all hurt in this entire escalation.
Shreya, we see that the escalation continues and Iran has launched a salvo of missiles on Israel and especially on the cities like Haifa, Tel Aviv, and many residential places are also being hit. Now what we are learning is that the US Embassy in Israel has also been inflicted with minor damages. This is the kind of attack that is taking place from Iran in Israel, and the US Embassy that lies in the middle of the city in Tel Aviv has also been hit. So there is no injury that has been informed, and the embassy, the consulate office will remain closed. That's what is also being informed by the US Embassy in Israel in Tel Aviv. So that's the kind of devastation that is now being seen inside the residential areas, inside the cities, including Tel Aviv, Haifa, which is the port city out there. And United States, remember, Shreya, had already given a very strong advisory to all the personnel and also the officials who are inside Israel to be in safe places. But embassy is a place and a consulate is a place that always remains at work, especially to help the citizens of the country in the time of crisis. And in this area, the US Embassy has now been hit by the Iranian salvo, and we have to wait and watch what the situation evolves like, because both the countries are escalating, both the countries are firing missiles at each other, and Iran is also firing in the cities of Israel now.
Absolutely, Shivani. Very concerning details now coming in, and we'll only have to wait and watch if the United States does retaliate, and if they do, to what extent do they in fact launch a retaliation on Iran. With that, thank you so much for bringing us all the latest details and updates from the war.
Well, breaking fuck the news is being reported that a major Iranian missile strike has just struck the city of Haifa in Israel. Many injuries are being reported. There are videos circling the internet. I don't think I'm gonna post that video on this motherfucker, but there's videos of people in the high rises in Haifa, I believe I'm saying that correctly, who show the videos of the strike that currently just occurred in Haifa.
It is done. It is over. Reevaluation has happened, and what you are about to see over the next several weeks is bank failure after bank failure after bank failure after bank failure. It is going to be a landslide of banks. Face first in the dirt, finagle, kaput. Today is the day, the first day of the rest of our life. Now, your obvious next question will be, well, I don't see any debt forgiveness. I don't see any this. I don't see any that. All right, sit tight. The announcement's coming, but there are things that have to happen before it. But I can tell you with 100% certainty that it is done. It is